Good morning, Powerful Parent Club. Good to see you folks. We are going to take another relaxing session today, and we'll see if Ruthie comes in to join. But the goal today is to just kind of go over some of the ideas and tools and some of my favorite exercises for parents using a foam roller. If you got one, if you don't have one, you can roll up a long yoga mat. I like these 36-inch ones. They're pretty long, so that way we can use it for the whole body. So we're going to just kind of go through a few different exercises and positions that feel really good. And a lot of people misunderstand how foam rolling works and what it does. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit just to start, because what we don't do with this is really kind of break down tissue or lengthen it super long. It works almost more like a self-massage tool, and it can be really good for allowing muscles to relax, and also creates more of a nervous response. So the nervous system changes, and it can help to deregulate some pain. But we see, if we put our tissues are a lot more resilient than a lot of people will give them credit for. So if things were going to just break down, if your tissues were going to lengthen, and you were going to make some massive tissue changes with just using the foam roller, you can imagine just sitting down, we'd be seeing changes as well. So and moving around in different ways. So we don't break down all that easily, but these can help in certain ways. And so we'll go over some of those positions and some different ideas, just because they can be useful to help kind of loosen things up a little bit, which is good. So if you got that time today, maybe not now, maybe later, this is, a few of the positions we're going into can be really nice, because what we want to think about is reversing the positions that we're in all day. So if we know that all day we're working in front of us, or we're holding a baby in our arms and we're keeping our chest forward, we want to get out of that position. We want to move back in and out of those positions, getting our chin back, getting our shoulders back, adjusting so we're not always in that same position all day. And we can use gravity foam roller to help us with some of that. So let's jump into it. We're gonna take it nice and easy. If you don't have one of these, again, you can grab a towel roll and roll it up really well, or yoga mat or something along those lines. So let's jump into it. The first thing we're gonna do is just a basic thoracic extension. So getting our upper back to work for us a little bit. And so I'll drop this down right here. And we like to use our breathing a lot for this. So I know I'm a little tight. Foam roller works as a fulcrum here. So if you want, you can come up and down. And Ruthie, you want to come out and hang out? Maybe not. So what we're going to do here is we're going to bring our arms in, and we're going to find a few of the spots that feel really, really tight. Take a deep breath and sink on down. We're going to do 2 or 3 deep breaths. I move my elbows closer to my face to move my shoulder blades out of the way. All right, and we're going to find 2 or 3 different spots on the roller. So what I can do here, right, is if I roll one way and lower on my spine, I can hit a few different areas. So if you want, you can use your focused breathing here to allow for some relaxation. I'm going to go one more stop down here. That's as low as I'll go. I want to go a little bit higher as well. So we're staying in the rib cage right now, focusing on not letting our neck come all the way back. We're protecting our neck, keeping the movement here in our thoracic spine. Awesome. And if you want, you could even get our arms back keeping your chin tucked in, nice and light. And coming up and down and off of there. All right, so one nice way of starting out, loosening up our spine, especially if we're forward and then we're hunched over a lot of the day with our kids, pulling back can be super powerful. So even if that's not, you don't have one of these, you might have a high back chair that you can block your lumbar spine and do a similar position, right? If you were coming back and forth, taking a big deep breath. The same thing. As we open up our chest, use our breathing, we can get a lot more access to some of that movement. So don't forget about that breathing. All right, so the next thing I really like for the front of the hip. So if you are sitting a lot, you're biking, you're running, oftentimes the front of our hips get really tight. So another nice thing to do with the foam roller is to just position it right at the front of the hip. And we're gonna find a spot that feels pretty comfortable here. Shouldn't feel crazy. If it's the first time you're ever doing this, then it might be a little bit uncomfortable, but we gotta modify as you can tolerate. And what we're doing here is we're trying to find positions that feel like they might be tight or stiff, and if you find that spot, we can use that to our advantage and kind of really focus in on those areas. A lot of times the front of our hips we're used to the pressure being placed on our femur to move up towards the front of our hip. So this is actually changing that force, direction of force. So now it's a little bit further back and hopefully renormalizing some of those hip mechanics that might change when our hips get really stiff. And the other thing you can see here, if I point my toes out, I'll feel a different spot versus if I'm pointing them in. So you might notice that a little bit. So you can kind of move in that area. And you can hang out here, depending on how it feels for you, or if you've got really tight hips, this is a good place to hang for a minute, 2 minutes. Everybody will be a little bit different, so we have to modify for each individual based off of their own particular needs. But think about that and you can play around. Now we're going to switch sides here. The other nice thing that you can do, I'm in position. And we're coming here. The other nice thing you can do, if you notice that there's a spot that's really tight or feels difficult for you to access a little bit deeper, you can use what we call a contract relax technique, where you tighten the muscles. So if you think about kicking your knee straight up towards the sky and then relaxing, when you relax, you might notice that you actually can get a little bit deeper into that movement. All right. I know we don't have the kids as involved in this one, but parents, we need some work too. So it's important to get yourself some me time if you got it. All right, now we're working, pointing the toes to the side and out. If your quads are really worked up, you can give yourself that self-massage, right? So we get creative. While you can't go to a masseuse as comfortably these days, there are plenty of techniques that you can use where you just are taking some of the basic equipment you have around the house to get some of the same benefits that you might be able to get from somebody working on you directly. It's a little bit different, but all important stuff. All right, so that feels good. But we're not beating ourselves up to death here. So we're not like crushing it. If it really hurts, if it's really uncomfortable, you can take some of that weight off with your arms. You can change the positions. Maybe instead of doing it on the floor, you do some of this against the wall standing up. So it's you have more control over it. All right, so the next thing that we're gonna do it's one of my favorites. All right, this is for a full body stretch. And so a lot of folks who have low back pain, or if they have issues, they need to neutralize their spine a little bit, you can hop into this position, tucking your chin down and bringing your arms up. You might go a little higher, but in this position, right, we just might relax. You're going to feel some tightness likely in the front of your chest, so we're not going crazy here. We're keeping our chin tucked in. You should feel your sacrum supported, the neck supported, and you should be able to just come to this position. And if you have low back pain, a lot of times this position on its own feels awesome. So it's something to consider building into your day, especially as a parent, where we mostly are working in front of ourselves and we don't get that time to relax backwards into this position. And now gravity is helping us out. So we'll hang here for about a minute, focusing in on our breathing. If you want, you can even mix it up here. If it feels okay in the shoulders, you can get a little bit of snow angel pattern. You might notice that this is really challenging. And you could do this even without a foam roller behind you. We're bringing those arms down towards the ground. You're going to notice I get to a certain point where it feels, maybe it's difficult, or maybe it's hard for me to keep my arms down, which might indicate some mobility restrictions. So it's good to focus in on some of those areas. Understand our body better. The more we move, the more we understand about how we move and where we have difficulties, and if we can treat those sooner, we save ourselves from a lot of problems down the road. Alright, we do a similar thing here. We're going to go just kind of a cross pattern in this comfortable position. So reaching one arm up. Alright, let's just go 5 more times. Alright, and what we can do, come on off, so careful getting on off. Alright, one other one we'll throw in today. So I know my lats get really tight, so working through, if we're lifting our kids a lot, we want to have some good mobility through those lats. So another good spot to focus some time on can be right underneath these arms. So especially if you notice that you have difficulty lifting overhead, a lot of times these lats can stiffen up. And so just some light massage work can sometimes help. You might feel like you're really sore. It's okay. That means, hey, you gotta give these areas a little bit more love. And you can hit it from different angles. Maybe you roll a little bit more. But if we're lifting our kids all the time, a lot of these muscles are overworked, and then they don't get as much love these days, so you can play around with that. Let's hit the other side. Awesome. If you guys have questions about any of this stuff, throw it in the comments section. I'm happy to answer them or bring them offline. This is all just kind of general ideas, things that I've seen work well, but the hope is that everybody is really focusing in on their own personal health, their own mobility, their own movement, and talking to somebody like a great doctor of physical therapy. I know a guy who knows, you want someone who knows what they're talking about and can help you based off of your own particular body. You know, you wouldn't go to the dentist. If the dentist told you that your teeth look good, you wouldn't stop brushing and flossing. So this is the equivalent of that for the body. We want to find where we need to focus our time and our energy and build those mobility improvements into our day, those strength improvements, those endurance improvements, whatever it is that you have a goal to do. Making some of these small changes up front can make a big difference. Awesome. So hopefully you got a little extra movement today. You loosened up our thoracic spines a little bit. I know I feel a little bit better, a little bit looser. So thanks for tuning in. We got an awesome guest tonight talking about moving slow. So Gina Rowe, who is somatic from Emerge Somatics, so she's a somatic practitioner. She's coming on tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. So if you guys have never heard of this before or never tried it, come take a taste of it, get a taste of it, because it's really interesting stuff, and she's got some awesome perspective. So thanks for tuning in. If you can find the time without kids climbing on you to do some of this foam roller mobility work. Maybe it's while you're watching TV. Maybe it's while you just get a moment while kids are napping. It can make a huge difference. So find that time in your day, folks, because it'll make it easier for you to refocus in on your work, be a better parent, be a better everything. So if you can feel and move better, everything's easier in life. All right, that is it. Come on in, 8:30 p.m. tonight, and we will see you all soon. Bye.